There were a lot of great games from this weekend, which gave us a lot of great performances. Picking 10 was nearly impossible, but I tried anyway. Here were the 10 best performances from week 3 of the college football season. Before we get to today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to the channel. If you love college football content, then this is definitely the place for you. Also, drop a comment down below and let me know who you thought had the best performance from this weekend. It helps the algorithm of the video and helps share it with more college football fans. Plus, I'd love to see which player you thought was the best. Kicking off the list will be Fresno State quarterback Jake Haener, who had one of the better performances I've seen in recent memory. His box score was remarkable as he completed 39 passes for 450 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. The most impressive part was how he put it all on the line to win the game for the Bulldogs. With 7 minutes left, the Bruins had a 3-point lead. Haener drove the Bulldogs down the field and gave them the go-ahead touchdown. He threw for 73 yards on the drive and took a massive hit and looked like he was in a significant amount of pain. UCLA then marched down the field and took the lead with under a minute remaining. Haener then drove them down the field for 75 yards in only 40 seconds, throwing the game-winning touchdown for Fresno State. Not only did he put up career numbers, not only did he do this on the road against a top 15 team, but he did it while clearly fighting through pain. What a game by Jake Haener. If I need a quarterback to lead a game-winning drive, I think he might be at the top of my list. Matt Corral is likely going to be on this list every week for the rest of the season. The numbers he's put up through 3 weeks are insane, and he's now the betting favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. Corral completed 23 of 31 passes for 335 yards and 3 touchdowns, while also adding 70 yards on the ground with 4 rushing touchdowns. He's the first player in SEC history to throw for 3 touchdowns and rush for 4 touchdowns in a game, and is the first quarterback to do it since Colin Klein did it at Kansas State. If this game would have been even remotely competitive, Corral likely could have kept going. But by the middle of the third quarter, Ole Miss was already up by 40 points, and he wasn't needed anymore. We're going to be getting games like this all season from Corral, and I seriously think that he's going to be able to set some single-season FBS records. Having himself a day was freshman running back Trayveon Henderson, who broke the freshman single-game rushing record at Ohio State after he rushed for 277 yards. He averaged 11.5 yards a carry while also rushing in 3 touchdowns. It was the second half, though, in which he really went off. It was also when the Buckeyes needed him the most. With a 7-point lead in the third quarter, Henderson ripped off a 48-yard touchdown run, putting Ohio State up by 2 scores. With 4 minutes left in the third, he had a 54-yard run. Then, to end the third quarter, he had a 52-yard touchdown run, putting the Buckeyes up by 2 touchdowns again. Out of all the great running backs Ohio State has had throughout their program's history, none have had a better game as a freshman than Trayveon Henderson did. Last week, when talking about Malik during my Heisman discussion, I said that he was due for one of his big games. Well, he had that this weekend against Old Dominion. He threw for 250 yards while completing 21 to 28 passes with 4 passing touchdowns. He also added 80 yards on the ground on 9 carries and had 2 rushing touchdowns, giving him 6 for the day. Willis is essentially Matt Corral, except he doesn't have a chance to do this against the top teams in the FBS. For the second consecutive week, Sam Howell had an incredible performance. After a dud in week 1 against Virginia Tech, he's bounced back nicely. This week against Virginia, he had one of the best all-around games of his North Carolina career. On only 14 completions, Howell threw for over 300 yards with 5 passing touchdowns. In addition to that, he also rushed for 112 yards on 15 carries. This is coming off a game in which he threw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, while also rushing for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. This was quite the quarterback battle, as I'd also like to give an honorable mention to Virginia quarterback Brennan Armstrong, who was neck and neck with Howell for the better game. Armstrong himself threw for 550 yards with 4 touchdown passes. Sadly though, he took home the 20-point loss, which is what hurt his chances of being on this list. But I wanted to give him a shout out anyway. Sam Howell had some big-time plays early in the game, as he had a 59-yard touchdown pass, a 37-yard touchdown pass, and a 75-yard touchdown pass, all in the first quarter. While we're giving honorable mentions, I'd like to give a few more from this game. Running back Ty Chandler rushed for 200 yards and had 2 rushing touchdowns, while receiver Josh Downs had 8 catches for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. All around, this was quite the game between these two teams. Before we get to the next 5 players, if you could give this video a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps share the video with more college football fans, plus it only takes a second to do. If you weren't watching the Syracuse-Albany game, I don't blame you. However, you missed a great performance from running back Sean Tucker. He rushed for 130 yards with 4 rushing touchdowns while adding 3 catches for 120 yards and a receiving touchdown. He had multiple big plays, including a 56-yard touchdown run and a 72-yard touchdown reception on 3rd and 28. Tucker became the first player in Syracuse football history to have 100 rushing yards and 100 receiving yards in the same game. His 4 rushing touchdowns were the 4th most in a single game in program history. He was snubbed and not named the ACC Running Back of the Week, so we'll get him on this list, which of course is a much more prestigious honor. Quietly adding his name into the Heisman conversation is SMU quarterback Tanner Mordecai, who continues to impress for the undefeated Mustangs. In a comeback win over Louisiana Tech, he threw for 400 yards and had 5 passing touchdowns with no interceptions. As time expired, Mordecai threw the game-winning Hail Mary to win the game. In addition to what he did through the air, Mordecai also added 51 yards on the ground as well, nearly leading the team in rushing yards. He was the reason SMU won this weekend, and is also the reason they're 3-0. He's thrown 16 passing touchdowns through the first 3 weeks of the college football season. If SMU plays in their conference title game and in a bowl game, Mordecai very well could be on pace to throw 70 passing touchdowns. He didn't start the game, but he showed quite the finish. Jackson Dart replaced Keaton Slovis and had one of the better quarterback debuts we've seen in years. While USC was trailing 14-0, Dart turned things around and helped the Trojans pick up the 45-14 victory. Dart was pretty slow to start the first half, but really figured things out in the second half. He led scoring drives on 5 of his 7 opportunities, finishing the half with 235 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. He set a USC record for passing yards in a debut as he ended the game with 391 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns. He also led the Trojans in rushing yards as well. It now looks as if there's going to be a quarterback battle at USC, and rightfully so. An exciting game on Friday night, Malik Cunningham gave his all for Louisville in their insane win over UCF. Although he was dinged up and dealing with pain, he still came up clutch for the Cardinals. He threw for over 250 yards with a passing touchdown while leading the team with rushing with 100 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. It wasn't the best game of his career, but considering he could have left the game at any point with his injuries, he didn't, and it just goes to show what kind of a quarterback he is. Blake Corum wraps up this list, as the Michigan running back is making the case for being the best running back in the nation through 3 weeks. On 13 carries, the sophomore rushed for 125 yards with 3 rushing touchdowns. His big moment came at the start of the 3rd quarter when he went 51 yards for the score, his 2nd touchdown of the game. On the next drive, he rushed in another touchdown for his 3rd of the game. Not only have the Wolverines been a surprise to start the season, Corum has been arguably the best running back in the country. Well, those are in my opinion the 10 best performances from the 3rd weekend of college football. Drop a comment down below and let me know who you thought had the best game. Was there a player on here that I didn't include? Let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. I'm posting college football videos all season long, so if you're a college football fan, then this is definitely the place for you. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.